Contemporary mein, I could be as raw as I wanted to.
Right.
And there's also like this grace aspect of contemporary that I really enjoy. You don't know how.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You
like
just
that.
don't know when you fall in love.
Yeah,
You
just
just
like
one
that.
day you get up and oh fuck.
Oh my god, there should be like a heart like shape around me. They have to do it. I think part of being an artist is getting that discipline. You have to really get up, think about what you want to do in the day. What is that research that you want to do to push yourself ahead?
Yeah, I want some insight on your improv class. Like what goes on, what prompts would you use?
You're a thief
Oh.
and you're
Nice.
running away. And how will you like dance? How will you do that? How will you communicate that through movement?
So before diving into the questions, let's know Saloni a little bit. What's your background? How did you start dancing? What is it?
My mom, when she saw me dance, she was like, कि I just have to put her somewhere because ये घर पे ऐसा कुछ भी नाचती रहती है. ऐसा hall में I used to just put some speakers on, like some music on the speakers, and I would just as a dance. But I wouldn't be able to dance as a, with what do you say, as a steps और वो सब नहीं दिखता था. ऐसे कुछ भी ऐसे नाचती रहती थी. And then she's like, this energy has to be like, yeah, somewhere this has to go properly. So she put me into a Bharatnatyam school.
Okay.
Here in Ahmedabad. I used to learn in Paldi, which is very close from here. And I think I was 6 years old when I started learning Bharatnatyam. I did that for 6 years. After which, and the part that I loved about Bharatnatyam was not just the steps, but also the abhinaya. That was, and the thing is that our teacher always said that I can't teach you abhinaya, but she used to like just express in her own way, and we used to look at her and we'd be like, wow, like she's able to communicate so much from just her facial expression, and that was beautiful for me, and I wanted to stick with that, and like even now when I try to do something, I think that part of me never goes where I'm just trying to like express
Yeah,
facially.
100%. Yes.
And yeah, I love that about Bharatnatyam. I just shifted to doing Kathak later. I don't have like a lot of training in Kathak, but again, the part of Kathak that attracted me was the grace, the footwork, and also my teacher in school. He used to make us listen to a lot of Coke Studio, and then all his choreographies were based on semi-classical folk or yeah.
Right.
So that's where I kind of got hold of Kathak as well. And with him, it was a very interesting process because every song we would just sit and understand what the song is about, what kind of expressions do I have to bring, and but he also kind of left it on me. Um, he just told me that whatever you think you need to like put into this song for
Right.
it to like really express what we want to talk about, then just do that. So I used to sit in front of the mirror and just practice my expressions.
Nice.
That
Yeah.
was, yeah, and it was fun for me. Like that part of the evening, ऐसा था, ऐसा set time था. ऐसा evening में मैं ऐसा पढ़ रही हूँ और उसमें ऐसा break चाहिए मेरे को. मैं बैठी हूँ ऐसा mirror के सामने. I'm just trying to like do some expression.
Okay.
And फिर ऐसा देख के ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं नहीं ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा हो सकता है. And that keeps going on in my head, like even when I'm trying to sleep or whatever, it's just like कि
Yeah.
अरे इसको ऐसे मैं express कर सकती थी.
Right.
Stuff like that. Yeah, so that's been my training. After which I have always been. मतलब मैं बहुत dance ऐसा shows देखती थी. With my father, I used to sit and watch So You Think You Can Dance very diligently. Like
Oh.
Tuesday, ऐसा बैठ जाने
Yes,
का ऐसा
Tuesday.
in front of me. Yeah, yeah.
Tuesdays, yes.
I used to just like watch that and other dance shows as well. So I think observation is so important as well when you are a dancer because
100%.
you
yes.
learn a lot from observing other people. So I started doing different styles, like a little bit of just ऐसा क्या बोलते हैं experimenting. ऐसा कुछ देखती थी, I'm like, oh, this is cool, and I used to like kind of try it, and then I try to learn it my
Yep.
own way. Yeah. So
And
yeah.
their style was also like really good. Like I guess So You Think only introduced that style of There would be the name of the performer,
Ha, ha.
and then maybe the
The
style,
choreographer, yeah, the
the
style and
choreographer
the
and the
choreographer,
style.
yeah,
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 what
yeah.
style this is and
Yeah,
everything. So
and they always had like this interview of sorts with
yes,
the choreographer as well
yep, yep.
and the contestants. और वो बहुत interesting था. और थोड़ा ऐसा दिखता था कि उनका what goes into like prepping also for that sort of a performance and what was the thought and the concept behind it as well.
Right.
So वो देख के ना मैं थोड़ा ऐसा styles में ऐसा थोड़ा experiment करती थी and थोड़ा बहुत ऐसा just try it out वैसा. And then I found something with contemporary because I was just like, wow, this is, I don't know, ऐसा थोड़ा एकदम ऐसा लगा कि I could express myself in every way while I was doing contemporary. And then I sought for like proper training. Um, and I have some people that have really helped me throughout this journey of, I'm still learning, obviously, I'm still learning, I'm still trying to be learning not just technique but also how do you approach choreography, how do you constantly change the way you're listening to music,
Right.
how do you think of a message or a concept and how do you translate that into some sort of a performance. But yeah, all of these teachers have been really helpful. Um, and yeah, I think a major part of my journey has been finding those kind of people who have helped me, not just physically in learning dance, but also thinking differently.
So, what drew you to contemporary dance? Like, as in, you already like talked about it a little bit.
Hmm.
Like, could you talk about like what aspects of contemporary that attract you the most, and like something that made you stay there because you experimented on like different styles,
Yeah.
but contemporary just stuck. You know.
I think, yeah, I think for me, contemporary has a very dual sort of an influence on me in the sense that contemporary mein, I could be as raw as I wanted to.
Right.
And
Huh?
there's also like this grace aspect of contemporary that I really enjoy. I know that every dance doesn't have to be graceful. Contemporary doesn't always have to be graceful. So that's also there. And honestly, it's like you can do anything and everything under contemporary. And there is also like this mixture of styles that I enjoy when I do contemporary because I see, for example, like these dancers, Erica Clean. I don't know if you've seen her videos, but she does this where she, she takes hip hop and she also does contemporary with it.
Okay.
Yeah, there are, and the thing with contemporary is that it is what the name suggests, right? That it is ever evolving.
Yep.
So, and that aspect of dance, like it is ever evolving for me also, right? And that kind of drew me to learning contemporary properly. And yeah, and also this idea of like whenever I choreograph something, it's definitely the music that like is very attractive to me. But then there's also this, what am I taking from my life, which is a personal experience, and trying to convert that into choreography. And that I saw a lot in contemporary choreographers, dancers. And I don't know, I just could, there's no real tangible way for me to tell you that, I don't know, contemporary stuff with me. It's like, okay, it might sound cheesy for this one. It's like love. It's
Yeah,
like you don't
but
know how.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
like
just
that.
don't know when you fall in love.
Yeah,
You
just
just
like
one
that.
day you get up and oh fuck.
Oh my god, there should be like a heart like shape around me, and there should be contemporary written on it. But
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. So,
yeah.
so one thing that I'm really curious about,
Hmm.
that like about contemporary is the name itself.
Yeah.
Why is it called contemporary? Like because contemporary, as you said, it means
Yeah.
like ever evolving. It's
Yeah.
something that's happening.
Yeah.
So
It is exactly what we discussed right now. I think that it is an ever evolving style that tries to, so it's like एक बड़ा umbrella है और बहुत सारे choreographers हैं, ठीक है, and all of these choreographers have made some sort of a difference into the world of contemporary, used techniques, introduced techniques, done something with contemporary in the sense they're always pushing the bar of like, it's like an experiment where scientists are trying to constantly be like कि ये सही है फिर ये सही है फिर ये सही है, but there's nothing in right or wrong in contemporary,
right. Oh
right?
wow,
There's
wow! I love
nothing,
this
yeah,
analogy.
it is what it is. Like this is what contemporary is. And again, the definition keeps changing with time. And so I think that's the idea behind
Crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah, the
really love
name.
this analogy being a science student myself. So,
We're geeking out.
yeah, we're geeking out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
uh, so, yeah, I wanted to know something about
Uh,
your, like, uh, an alter ego or another
yeah.
personality of yours.
Yeah.
What is Saloni's? And why is Saloni's? And if anything, it should be fast knees because you're so swift with your footwork and everything.
Right.
Why Saloni's?
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is that I have a okay, I have a medical condition where
Uh-huh.
I am basically hypermobile, right?
Mm,
And
yes.
hypermobility runs through my body. So it's like I'm hypermobile in different places. Now the thing is that early on when I used to do karate and martial arts and all of that, I twisted my one knee, which kept on
Okay.
getting twisting. And then
Yeesh.
so I had to get both of them operated. And so Sloanies is just that I'm trying to
Wow.
like
So something happened to you and then like, oh,
yeah.
how can I
Also,
capitalize on it?
wait. Also, okay,
uh,
yeah. Capitalizing on sympathy. Oh my god. It's
no,
like
no,
a
no, not
reality
that. Not
check,
sympathy. It's
guys.
like you're overcoming it
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Trying to, yes.
Yeah.
But also it rhymes with Saloni.
Yeah, yeah. I see the fun there. I
Mm,
really love
you
it.
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Really love
yeah.
it. That's why I kept it because I
Yeah.
really love puns and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So,
Yeah. But
uh,
that's like more of like my movement practice sort of a space. Like it's sort of a diary. It's like,
yes.
yeah. So for me, when I started dancing, and this was always a thing that, oh, I want to put out content, but then I'm not good at it. Like, I want to put out content, but I'm not like a good dancer. And I don't know what sort of production do I have to like, put in or think of to make it look like content that was proper.
Hmm.
So, but then I understood that, and it's something that I've learned from people around me that everything's a journey, everything's a process, and you want to. I wanted people to also be a part of that process,
Right.
and somehow it just is easier, right? You're trying to do something by yourself, and but then when you share it with others, and other people are a part of that process, it just becomes easier. It becomes like a better place to be,
Yeah,
sort of a thing.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's just that I think Stoney's is sort of a movement diary for me. I started off just putting random videos whenever I felt like it, very impulsive. And I also didn't want it to be like, oh, I have to put out stuff. I didn't want to put
Right.
that
Yeah.
pressure on myself. So I let that page be just who I truly am, everything from what I wear to like what place I shoot this, how random and raw and all of that basically put together into that page. So yeah, that's
I
what it
really
is.
love the videos you've put out there. Like they're really, really nice, and
Thank
as you
you.
always do, because the thing that I love about you is that there's a lot of like research that goes behind everything. Like it's not just a movement because there is a beat,
Hmm.
So I really love that part of you. Like,
I think there
uh,
was a very like important aspect when I was dancing and when I was in school. I had this teacher used to teach us, right? And I used to perform, but then one day, like after a performance, he just came up to me and he's like, "You're performing just for the sake of performing. Like you're just performing." Like, and then I understood that what does he mean by that? And I started questioning a bit, and I understood that for me, it's important to associate or have meaning to what I'm doing. And I'm not saying that everything that I put out has some sort of meaning. Sometimes it's good to not just have meaning
yeah,
behind
that
it.
also is
Yeah,
there.
that's important as well. But I've realized that if I'm choreographing something, there has to be some sort of like meaning that I'm associating with it. It doesn't have to be like a deep meaning,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like, oh my god, this amazing concept I'm thinking of. Not like that, but some sort of reason or meaning for the way I'm moving, how it makes me feel. And again, it's subjective, I think. So it's a lot of like self inquiry to understand that this song is making me feel this, and this is what I'm thinking about, and that's how I'm trying to translate it in the body.
So a major part, we have discussed it earlier also, like a major part of the reason behind me doing a podcast has been spreading awareness towards dancers,
Yeah.
like make how to make money, how to make a living out of dance,
Yeah.
how can an artist like earn also, and also like
Yeah.
so. Uh, so there's a part in every episode where we discuss sources of income.
Yeah.
Like, what are your sources of income? Because maybe if someone who is starting just now
Hmm.
or just thinking of starting, haven't even started,
Hmm.
so they can choose a route. Ki, oh, I can go this way and
Yeah.
make money, and maybe then that suits my artistry the best.
Yeah.
So what is yours?
I think first and foremost is, and this is something that I've also had to research because,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to do that before like getting into this, right? So anyway, I did, according to my research, I think choreography is the topmost thing that you want to kind of do to
Mm-hmm.
get money, and it pays well. So choreographing events is one thing. Second is that you could be a performer. And so basically making a portfolio of your dance, and then like either pitching it to people who are making productions and would want you to be a performer in their productions,
Okay.
or just basically building on your skills in a way that they recognize you, or they find your profile and they basically take you up as a part of their production. So being a performer or just performing on stage, as in you're commissioned to perform somewhere, is also one thing. I think a lot of my friends are doing this. They're being commissioned to go and perform at places,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that that works for them. So there's choreography, there's performing, and then there's teaching.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. So yeah, these three things, and then there are also other aspects of it. I think about doing movement research, um, putting together your own events, which are dance events,
Mm-hmm.
where you basically involve the community. You also kind of educate the people who are there. And so basically just making some sort of an experience, organizing things by yourself. I think I'm saying that because, yeah,
You
yeah,
work there.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I know that. So, yeah, these are the some sources that I can think of. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
because
you're
I've done
you're
these
also
things.
like just as you were saying, you're also an event manager. You have worked with like talent management companies and stuff.
Yeah.
So how does that universe look like for a dancer, for an artist?
So I've worked with musicians extensively, but I can say that creative industries, like I can say that some part of it also is the same in the dance industry.
Yeah, yeah.
But basically, managing, I've been working with artists, musicians, managing them, thinking about branding, thinking about content, how can we get shows for them, and how can you organize events that can give them a stage. So all of those things I've been working at, and I think it's been a very good thing, especially like my experience that I've been working with musicians. It's really helped me look at music differently, listen to music differently, and also work with them as artists who are completely self-motivated. They know that this is something that they have to do, and I think part of being an artist is getting that discipline,
Yeah, 100%.
because you have to do that, right?
100%.
So with your craft and everything, there's also this other aspect where you're like, you have to really get up, think about what you want to do in the day, what is that research that you want to do to push yourself ahead. And so I think it's really like starting some sort of an entrepreneurial journey
100%,
as
yes.
well, right? So that aspect of understanding also has to be there, and I learned that from working with musicians, because there was this one musician. He is from Ahmedabad. His name is Chirag, and I think Chirag's very self-motivated, and he thinks, like, he used to think ahead. He used to say that this is what I want to do, and that's half the work that you're already doing, because it's like you're putting in that much effort in doing something. The other half is like actually doing it,
Doing
you
it.
know. So yeah, that was great. I worked with these artists, and it's important to, I think, but it's also important as an artist to understand when do you need a manager.
Okay.
um, it's like you're at some point where you're like, oh, now I need a manager for what? Like, do you want to get booked for performances?
Yeah.
All of that as well. So there has to be some inquiry with that also. Key, do I really need a manager at this point in time when I'm just starting out? I need to work on my skills until a point that I'm ready to be out in the world, and
Right.
then that's why
Okay.
I need a manager.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are, like, at least when I used to work in the music industry, I still do. But it's just that, yeah, now I'm more focused on the dance bit of things. But there are a lot of these shows that you can get where you can go and perform. Like, you can book, you can get yourself booked at venues across India
Right. Yes.
to go and perform as well. So, talent management is what do you say? A whole circle, like a 360-degree management of talent.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it means. So, understanding who the person is, what the artist is, understanding what is their USP, branding the artist accordingly, and this is all of this is the process. It's like you do trial and error to understand what works for you. How are you different, and then you put yourself out there. Yeah, and I think huge part of this is like eradicating that self doubt that a lot of artists face. And it's, I think self doubt is somewhat healthy, but like till a point where it just starts becoming detrimental to the journey that you want to take.
Right.
So that's where you realize and you're like, no, I'm completely trusting myself. I want to put myself out there in the world and then eventually find my way and find my space through it. So yeah.
Great. So have you ever ever felt or ever encountered like the imposter syndrome, like I do not belong here?
Yeah,
So,
I have absolutely.
so how do you overcome that part? Because
I think it's like you want to keep trying. It's like you feel that when you kind of become complacent, I think at one point.
yeah,
So you want to keep pushing yourself and be like, oh, I have to get out of that headspace and really like keep on working on myself. And वो करना बहुत जरूरी है. वरना वो तुम्हें ऐसा ही लगेगा कि मतलब मैं I'm not good enough to be there, you know.
yeah,
एंड मुझे आता नहीं है वैसे सब लगता है बट वो फिर वो आता है कि तुम्हारे में नॉलेज है कि नहीं वो चीज़ का आर यू एजुकेटिंग योर सेल्फ आर यू इम्पार्टिंग द राइट एजुकेशन फॉर यू टू
right.
बी कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट योर सेल्फ इट्स लाइक मुझे पता है कि ये स्टेप ऐसा ही होगा मेरे को यहाँ पे हाथ रखना है मेरे को यहाँ पे पाँव रखना है तो ये स्टेप हो जाएगा
Right.
फिर तो मुझे नहीं है ना वो imposter. I'm like, I can do it. I can actually do it. See, like I have that knowledge. So it's sometimes as simple as that. It's about really working on yourself, getting out of that headspace of like thinking that you're not good enough. Because sometimes you can just think and be in your head instead of really doing something. And I
Yeah.
think like that movement is extremely important for me. Because when I'm always in that headspace and I feel like, oh shit, nothing's working, and I'm like, this is the bad time, a bad space, everything. I just get up and I start moving a bit because then I'm more in the body. I feel good about getting out of my head and really just doing the work
Right.
mindlessly. Not mindlessly, I would
But
say, maybe like also mindfully.
yeah.
Mindlessly but mindfully.
Fully.
So basically you're not thinking too much.
Yeah.
But you're also very aware of what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's sort of a
Nice,
thing.
yeah. That is really gold.
Mm.
How did you happen to and like come here? How did you discover MisB and how did you end up
Oh,
teaching here and stuff?
I've been a big fan of Miss B since a really long time, and I was in Baroda at that point of time, and I used to tell myself I have to come to the studio. It's insane. It's like I was really excited to come and be a part of the community here, and part of me shifting from Baroda to Ahmedabad is that I wanted to be a part of Miss B. I
Wow.
wanted to be a part of the community because this space is just it makes you feel like you can really grow
Yeah.
with the people around you. There's so much to take from everyone around you. There's such good energy. Sometimes I'm just like woken up and I'm just like, okay, I'm entering, and then they're like, hey, I'm like, okay.
100% yes.
Yeah. So it's that sort of energy that I really enjoy at Miss B, and also great how like crazy good movers around you that you can learn from and create with, and yeah.
Absolutely. And good choice of word, create with.
uh,
So so for the last Miss Bika Jalwa event,
yeah.
so you took a batch
Yes.
that was like very how do I say uniquely named co-create.
Hmm.
So could you throw some light upon that? Like why
Yeah.
was it named co-create? What is it co-create?
So the idea behind that was that I wanted everybody who was part of the environment to put in their own understanding of. So we basically I put a theme forward, which
Hmm.
was connection and human connection, and
Okay.
then we basically experimented with what it means to all of us. And so it's interesting when three or four minds come together and they're like, this is what it means to us. And then without questioning if that's what it's supposed to mean or that's what it used to mean, we just go ahead with that
Right.
idea of that
Okay.
meaning. So the idea was that everybody comes together and creates something together. तो एक थीम बेसिकली था और उस पे मतलब वो थीम को हम कैसे समझ रहे हैं, एवरीबडी बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट, हाउ
Mm-hmm.
दे आर इंटरप्रेटिंग द थीम, और हम कैसे उसको एक परफॉर्मेंस में कन्वर्ट कर रहे हैं. That was
Nice.
that entire process. So thoda emphasis tha or this time especially on emotions. And again, the thing is with a lot of dancing, what happens is you forget to emote facially.
Mm.
Um, and here, and that's sometimes also कि तुम इतना deep नहीं गए हो कि तुम्हें वो emotion की awareness नहीं है. So
Yeah,
just being aware of that emotion, being able to express that openly, finding that freedom on the stage as well, because performance is different um,
100%. Yeah,
than yeah than just
practicing
practice.
and
Yeah,
doing. Yeah.
exactly. So when you're performing, and I think मुझे तो ऐसा I've felt that peak, of like feeling like, oh, I'm so immersed in this performance right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the stage does give you that space. It really
absolutely.
sets you free.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was वही कि पूरा प्रोसेस was कि हम कनेक्शन को समझे थोड़ा, और कैसे कौन से स्टेप्स एकदम हमें नेचुरली आ रहे हैं. सो वी डिड अ लॉट ऑफ
Mm-hmm.
इम्प्रोव, थोड़ा फ्री स्टाइल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हमारी बॉडीज कैसे रिएक्ट कर रही है, ये थीम को कैसे हम समझ रहे हैं, और उसको फिर वी जस्ट पुट टुगेदर इनटू अ परफॉर्मेंस एंड वी परफॉर्म्ड
Nice. Yeah, it
नेचुरली.
was really beautiful. The
Oh, thank
concept, everything
you.
that came together really beautiful.
Mm.
And I also love the name, like you and
You and
I.
I, yeah.
So how do you come up with the name? Was it also intentional in the sense of connection, or
Yeah,
was
it
it?
was
Yeah,
absolutely. It was tied around connection. It was you and I. It's just I wanted it to be a very like that sort of
cohesive thing.
huh,
Yeah,
and everybody kind of was, what do you say, connecting with that you and I. Oh, काफी simple है, right?
yeah,
You and I. It's just like it's just you and me basically, but it's also a whole. So you and I form the whole. That's sort of that was the idea.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whenever you have Saloni on the podcast, you'll get to hear such philosophical and deep
Eh.
things. So,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. um, yeah. So, what was the most difficult part of it? Even listening to it, like you know,
Hmm.
having people express their emotions. Different people express themselves differently,
Yeah.
and putting it together as a performance
Yeah.
for people to watch.
Yeah.
Like what was the difficulty that you faced? The challenges.
I think accessing emotions is
Mm-hmm.
not easy. Being in an environment where even if there is an environment that lets you express the way you want to express, तो भी उसको access करना difficult होता है. It's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
और मुझे थोड़ा as somebody who is basically overseeing that entire process, I was always like, oh, is this too intense? You know, And then I started questioning a lot about the process being too intense. Where can I make it less intense? Um, because I, it's too much sometimes to take. I know I had somebody cry in the class when they were, um, when we were doing one of the improv sections. And I just realized that, and obviously if somebody is in that state, you also, everybody goes into that state as
Yeah.
well. And I think it's beautiful that somebody is able to be that honest. Um, but it's not an easy thing to do. And where do you limit that research
Yeah.
is something that, and how much is needed for this process to come up with just a performance, right? It's like you're going through this much, but how much is needed? Where do you stop? Is something that I was just like, kya karna chahiye ab? you know? So yeah, I think that was the most difficult aspect of just understanding where do you stop this research aspect and what is the collective consensus about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, it's co-create. It's not like I'm teaching a class.
Right.
We are creating something together. We are making this environment. I was guiding, yeah, but like, and so I was in charge of just making sure that, and I
Yeah.
felt that responsibility, obviously,
Absolutely. Yeah.
as somebody who was in charge to make sure that everybody's fine. you know.
Yeah. But I can only imagine, like, because um, I don't know, man. I don't have the words really. I'm so bad at, like expressing myself. And if I watch someone, like if I even like, I could only imagine like how difficult it could have been.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. And what was the fun part? Like,
Oh, looking at people dance.
yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, the improv sections, the kind of prompts that we basically were giving each other, and we were doing an improv section, and people just dancing, like being, and some of them were actually just accessing those parts for the very first time.
Hmm.
तो उनको वैसे एकदम अलग तरीके से मैं डांस करते हुए देख रही थी और वो देख के आई वाज वेरी हैप्पी आई वाज जस्ट लाइक कि अरे ये तो वेयर इज दिस कमिंग फ्रॉम एंड ऑनेस्टली व्हेन
Nice.
आई सी पीपल लाइक दैट नो आई हैव गूज़बम्प्स लाइक व्हेन आई एम सीइंग देम जस्ट बी सो ऑनेस्ट और वो दिखता है वो ऑनेस्टी ना ऐसा
Yeah,
छलकती है
exactly.
ऐसा
Yes, yes.
yeah it's just there right so that was the most fun part for me ऐसा looking at people dance wow बहुत मजा आया मुझे and I just took like steps from there and I'm like अरे ये तो कितना अच्छा step है अरे ये तो कितना अच्छा step है अरे इसको इससे mix कर सकते हैं and then we just kind of like
Nice.
worked with that how
Yeah, I wanted some insight on your improv class. Like
hmm
what goes on, what prompts would you use,
yeah
stuff like that.
okay so I love improv um, because I try to make that a part of all the batches that I do I mean वो choreography technique और वो सब तो important होता ही है
Hmm.
but for me it's very interesting to see how like the person like the people that they are
Right.
and this is something that I learned you know Martha Graham
Ah, Martha Graham,
yeah
yes.
she's the mother of modern dance
Yep.
and so basically her first lesson in dance was by her father
Father, yes.
yeah who basically told her that movement never lies that you can look at somebody and see the way they move and you can know what they're feeling what they're going through and that was her first lesson in dance it was not tendus and extensions and point and all of that
Right.
right so it's very important for me to see the people move and see them being themselves because the thing is when I'm talking to you when we are talking to people we still have that sort of a
Yeah, yeah,
you know like this
there's a filter.
there's a
Yes.
filter there's some
Yes.
sort of filter because they're like these thoughts in your head and then you're filtering them into words
Absolutely.
but then when you're moving you're just moving you don't have a filter for that
Yep.
yeah unless you're extremely conscious and you're like oh shit like I'm not gonna
But that
move
also is
that's
shown in your movement. Yeah,
true
you cannot
absolutely
hide it.
yeah correct yeah so yeah so it's very important for me to include improv and the way that we do improv usually and the if say somebody is doing improv for the first time we start with isolation being very basic so just understanding how do you what are the different ways in which you move the head and then the shoulders and the hands and the chest and the pelvis and then the legs and then the whole body but what we keep in mind when we are doing improv is that first of all improv classes are never done in front of a mirror
Right.
because you don't judge yourself when you're doing that improv and so I asked them to just turn around and look into the wall and just yeah and just dance
Yeah.
basically yeah and what I do is that I give them this idea key for example if there's like this 2D paper and there are dots joined like dots on the paper then you just have to join the dots and draw something yeah now imagine that grid that's on a 2D plane in a 3D plane
Okay.
so imagine there are dots around you and you're trying to just join those dots with the hands and the heads and the shoulders. So you're
Wow.
drawing basically in space. So that's the idea behind it's just play. I think improv is play, right? You're playing, you're trying to see how what is there in your muscle memory, but also at the same time exploring.
Hmm.
And so we try to be patient with the body. We say that don't judge yourself, be patient with the body, patient with the process, um, and be honest
Right.
be completely honest about what you're feeling at this moment, what the space is making you feel. There's so many aspects of improv, right? It's the space that you're dancing in, it's the state that you're in, it's the music that you're listening to. All of these aspects,
Nice. Yes.
yeah, basically dictate that improv, right? So we start with isolation, then we go on to different prompts like dance without hands, just
Mm-hmm.
see because we use our hands very extensively
Yep.
so dancing without hands
Yeah, I'm
and
guilty
then
of it.
yeah yes don't touch Yeah. So basically, we just say don't touch and like yeah, just dance without hands. So all
Yeah.
of those different kind of prompts which make you do research physically. So there's
Mm-hmm.
physical research, but there's also these scenarios, like you're a thief and
Oh,
you're
nice.
running away, and how will you like dance? How will you do that? How will you communicate that through movement? So yeah, these kind of prompts.
Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, this is
Come
right.
to class.
Yeah, I will. You have a session after this, right? I'm
Yeah.
signing up. Sign me up. Sign me
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Wow. Okay.
Mm.
I really love it. Like, wow. Just no words. I need time to process it.
Mm.
It's a really great like way to, explore yourself as a dancer, and also as a like person. You know what kind like because we all play a character in our lives, right?
Yeah.
No matter what we say,
True.
we are characters,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And when we are dancing, we portray either ourselves or like a character of ourselves,
Yeah. Like a
right?
definition of ourselves.
Yeah, a
That
definition, an alter
yeah.
ego, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's so important, as you said, to do improv. And I have seen people like even during a freestyle session and stuff, they would do things that they have already done.
Yeah.
You know, like ciphers. Like so, the thing is that I've seen people do cipher, like do a round to impress all of the people
Yeah.
in the circle,
Yeah. Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
and like that beats the whole point of doing a cipher.
Yeah.
So as you said, you know, looking into the mirror,
Yeah.
no judging, be patient. You know, like
Yeah.
if you miss the beat, you miss the beat. That is not the point.
Yeah, and you start slow. Like
Yeah,
whenever you basically start improvisation, you start slow because you don't want to react
exactly.
to music. Because it's easy to react to music. And that's how I kept on doing that. But then I understood that I was like there was some sort of a pattern of reacting also. So you have to actively unlearn also the way you react to music.
Absolutely.
वो भी थोड़ा ऐसा मुझे लगता है a lot of this process of being a dancer is see there is obviously physical research and changes that you need to do learn vocabulary and all of that but a lot of it is also mental like a lot of it is तुम कितना um, कैसे अपने आप को push कर रहे हो
Right.
and not just in terms of listening to music but also तुम movement के साथ क्या associate कर रहे हो are you see there could just be movement production based on gestures.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine a dance production that's just based on gestures like high and by and all of those things.
Wow.
Like so that's also an exploration, right? So yeah, how you think also is an exploration and dance is letting you do that.
Absolutely.
Movement is a way for you to do that, grow also as a person. So yeah.
Great, 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 great,
Mm.
great insight. Yeah, I'm loving this already. All right, so we'll wrap this up in a few minutes. But before that, I want to know, like, is there a current favorite dancer of yours, like someone you love watching or
Yeah.
inspires you a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sean Lu. He's crazy. Oh my god. Like
he's gone crazy lately.
yeah,
Like I have seen him
uh
before, but now he's
like
just.
yeah, I know. He's just so good. And I think I've been a fan ever like since I first saw him as a छोटू था वो
Yeah,
जो मैट
exactly.
स्टेफेनिना के क्लासेस में डांस कर रहा था और अभी वो क्या कर रहा है यार I'm just like wait how are you able to do this I can't the way he thinks the kind of movement he does the honesty he's doing films he's directing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dance films now and he's what 21 and he's yeah it's insane he's very inspiring dude he's extremely inspiring I look at him and I'm just like mm.
Exactly.
Yeah
Mm.
yeah
Crazy,
but
crazy.
yeah apart from that I think that's just like you look at somebody on social media and you're like I really love the way he moves but then I have some favorite dancers around me
Yeah.
and yeah like I love the way that Shri moves.
Absolutely.
I really admire the hard work that she puts in, the conscious effort that's there. Um, So I love that. I love the way Sahil moves. I love the way Ashu moves. I love the way Kishore moves. I love the way
Absolutely.
you move. Oh my god. Guys, have you seen him touch? Like he's sitting and he's doing this podcast thing, okay? But like if I take the mic away from him and I say do something with your hands, he will touch.
I absolutely will.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are like surrounded by these people, and maybe that's
Yeah.
why I guess we are growing. Like, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure. I think it's extremely important um, to be surrounded by those people as well. And इसलिए तो मैं यहीं पे भी आई थी मतलब अहमदाबाद में इसलिए ही आई हूँ. I'm seriously मतलब यहाँ पे आके see the thing is मेरा वहाँ पे work था. वहाँ पे थोड़ा ऐसा sort था. But then वहाँ पे डांस नहीं था. ऐसा community नहीं था.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was this. तो मुझे यहाँ पे that's why I shifted to Ahmedabad. I'm like कि नहीं मुझे यहाँ पे करना है ये. And I never